Good evening, everyone, and welcome to another of your spooky sessions with me, your host, Hedda Gold. Now, how are you all tonight? It's Friday, it's the end of another week. I hope you're still following all the guidelines, taking care of yourselves and each other, staying safe, and just waiting this thing out, because that's all we can do is wait it out. In the meantime, we can distract ourselves with either reading stories or listening to stories, which is why I'm doing this now, to help us all with a bit of a distraction. So for all of you lovers of the spooky, the paranormal, the supernatural, things that can't be quite explained away, then this is the place for you. At least I hope so. Well, tonight I'm reading you a factual piece, actually, and I've been asked quite a few times, why is it ghost stories all the time? Can't you pick on any other particular genre? So tonight I've decided to read you a story of, it's called A Scottish Vampire, but it's also the Scotland's version of a banshee, what the Irish call a banshee. In Scotland, they call it the Baa-van Shee. If you looked at it written in English, it looks like Baobhan Sith, but it's actually Gaelic, and it's pronounced Baa-van Shee, which is where you can understand where you get the word banshee from. So I'm going to read you a factual stroke urban legend stroke info piece on this Baa-van Shee and Scottish vampires. So if you would please sit back, relax, while I read to you the Baa-van Shee, the Scottish vampire. I really do hope you enjoy it. The Highlands of Scotland hold many myths and legends. Most warn people not to stray from the path. Don't speak to strangers, especially beautiful female ones. Best to stay indoors and most definitely stay faithful. This particular story warns of the Baa-van Shee, a female blood-sucking fairy who terrorised the misty glens and the mountains of the Scottish Highlands, preying on unsuspecting travellers. The words Baa-van Shee stand for fairy woman in Scottish Gaelic. This blood-sucking woman, the Baa-van Shee, and also known as the White Woman of the Highlands, like other legends, she has the form of a beautiful woman who would appear to men and try to seduce them. The Baa-van Shee was mostly attracted to male hunters, drawn out by the smell of their bloodied clothes. They are described as beautiful women dressed in green, the colour of magic and the colour of fairies. These vampires are different from the Bram Stoker Dracula kind of vampire. They don't have pointed fangs that sink into their victims' necks. The Baa-van Shee, when attacking, use their long, sharp fingernails, then drink the blood from the open scratch wounds. They look very ordinary until they attack. Then their delicate hands turn into talons to bleed their unsuspecting victims. They began by asking their victim to dance, charming the young man until he is under their spell, and then out come the nails. If they attack and kill a woman, she'll return as one of their kin. Most of the Baa-van Shee were previously enchanters or witches who keep on using their spells after death. The Baa-van Shee only come out after darkness falls. During the day, they rest in buried coffins. They only rise and feed once a year. A lesser popular version tells that they have hooves instead of feet, although they keep them hidden under their clothes. They may be human or even half-elven stock, but they always appear as beautiful women and enchantresses, sometimes attacking in small groups with others of their kin. Baa-van Shee are supposed to be able to shift, but not into bats. Their animal of choice is the wolf. Shape-shifting will lessen their power, as they won't be able to use their glamour again while in human form. They are clever and can speak any language their victim knows due to a form of telepathy, but they will sound as if they have a strange accent. The only way to kill or harm a Baa-van Shee is with iron. They dislike horses because of their iron shoes. A clear warning to hunters leaving their wives at home: it's best to stay on their horses. A Baa-van Shee can be trapped in their buried coffin by building a stone cairn over their grave. This is thought to keep them from rising. One encounter with these Scottish vampires tells of 4 young friends who, after hunting, decided to spend their night in an abandoned cottage. As darkness fell, they set a fire in the hearth and they started singing and dancing. As one of them expressed his wish to have female companions with them, 4 women knocked at their door and started dancing with the youths. As the Baa-van Shee started to attack their prey, one of the young men, who was singing, ran to the door, taking shelter between the horses. The creature that was running after him waited for him to get out of the safe circle formed by the animals, but the man stayed well within until dawn broke, and the women disappeared shortly before the sun rose. The man returned to the cottage to find his friends dead and drained of all their blood. He was saved only because fairy creatures are traditionally afraid of iron, for it can harm and kill them, and the horses were shod with iron shoes. So, my friends, if you are ever in the Highlands and Islands of Scotland, be very wary if you're out alone after dark. Be very wary of the Baa-van Shee or any incredibly beautiful woman who comes across your path. Who knows what will happen to you? Well, I hope you enjoyed that story. Makes a departure from ghost stories. So now we're going to turn to episode 2 of I'm a Priest at the Vatican, and we are going to summon a demon. Now, where were we left last week? We met Father Edward Thomas. He was contacted by Bishop Ricci, who asked him to go to the Vatican, down to a secret underground cave where they keep various people who are participate in the paranormal in these sort of, for the want of a better word, plastic boxes. And this is where they came across Imunda. And Father Thomas, thank you, my cat. Father Thomas could not believe that Imunda was actually 85 years old. To him, he presented as a young man in his 20s. But this was because he had been working with the sanguine amber, which of course we know about because of Sarah. So, anyway, Bishop Ricci has told Father Thomas that they are going to use this sanguine amber. Excuse me. Would you please not do that? Stop it. Come on. Come on. Come listen to the story. Honestly, cats, you can never get them to behave, can you? And sorry for the interruption. So, they're going to work with Amunda. What is it? Anyway, they're going to work with Amunda and raise a demon. So, part 2 is starting now. So, I hope you're still sitting comfortably, and I'll begin. Well, I'm flabbergasted as I look between Bishop Ricci and the unnatural warlock behind his plexiglass cage. That was the word I was looking for, plexiglass. Bishop Ricci, you cannot be serious. These demons which I cast out have only echoes of their power. I look to the object before me, the small disc of sanguine amber. But this, to pull a demon from the pit, why would the church risk it? Bishop Ricci looks to me with a serious tone. Father Thomas, you yourself know the increase in demonic activity as of late. You've seen it firsthand. Your reports have shown statements that are most concerning, mostly regarding the coming of a destroyer. I clench my fist but do my best to remain composed. Bishop Ricci, I've said before that those statements can be from the demon or from the possessed and could simply be the demon pleading to remain inside of the victim. Amunda laughs, overhearing our conversation. He speaks in Latin. The demon shall consume your church. Bishop Ricci motioned for me to follow him into a room at the end of the hall, out of earshot of the cell. Here I noticed 3 other priests, 2 of which were students of mine from a year ago, and 1 elderly priest. Father Thomas, an enthusiastic young man spoke. It's wonderful to see you again. The young man was Father Jason Hammond. He hailed from England. He walked up to me and shook my hand hardly. A not so happy face was that of the other 2. While I did not know of the older priest, the second younger man was my former student, Father Gérard Charpentier. He was a Frenchman who embodied everything you would imagine a Frenchman should be when having to deal with an American. Mon Père Thomas. Father Charpentier would not, or rather refused, to speak English. My French was serviceable at least, but not fantastic. The bane of living in Europe was having to know at least 3 languages. Knowing the 4 I did was burdensome enough. Learning French from my 1 stubborn French students 5 years ago was just arduous. Father Hammond looked at Father Charpentier. Liven up, Gerard. We'll be fine now. He leaned over to me, whispering in my ear. Father, you don't believe a lick of this nonsense, do you? Summoning a demon? I frowned and moved back to Bishop Ricci. I would really advise against this course of action. The bishop motioned to the floor, where a ring of salt was located. Within it was a pentagram with various satanic symbols around it. We have taken multiple precautions. A ring of sanctified salt surrounds the summoning circle. He then hands each of us a bottle. Holy water purified by His Holiness himself, after it was filtered through the shroud of Turin. He looks to me now, and Father Thomas's expertise. I have to protest this insanity. A demon to be summoned here will be disaster to say the least, I shout. Father Hammond's face falls for the first time. Bishop Ricci, with all due respect, if Father Thomas is here for his expertise, perhaps he needs to be heeded. Bishop Ricci shakes his head. This will proceed with or without Father Thomas's approval. He is here because we need him regardless. Outside this door will be another pair of highly trained exorcists. The door itself is warded and blessed. The passageway above, further protected with holy wards, artifacts, and lastly the doorway protecting the passage has been sealed. Only a bishop's crucifix can unlock it. I shake my head and turn to my fellow priests. All of you must be fully prepared whether you believe in this man's ability to summon a demon or not. The bishop looks to the entrance of the room as Amunda is led inside. Yes, you enjoyed the story as well. Right. Mummy's trying to read the story, darling. Okay? As a good boy. Sorry about that. We have a purpose. We will interrogate the demon, demand to know what is going on down below, and then we will send it back. He looked to all of us. I am fully aware of the risks, but the Pope fears that with the increase in demonic activity, that we must act quickly. An invasion may be imminent. Well, I am furious, but regardless, I bring out my equipment. Silver crosses, rosary beads, and several charms against possession, which I give to each priest. This is madness, Bishop Ricci. Place my vestments on and look to Amunda. But if the church will not back down, then I'll have to do my best to prevent this demon from doing its worst. I pull on a pair of heat-resistant gloves and offer the same to my fellow priests. All look at me oddly, and they don't bother to wear them. Amunda is grinning ear to ear as the pair of priests from outside him hand him the sanguine amber. I shall do this as you ask. He walks up to the circle while my fellow priests surround him. I close off his path, opening my Bible and laying the chain from its spine over the crease, the pages which stops the pages from moving. I slide the locks on the sides of it to keep it opened as well. As I said, I am an exorcist. I can count the number of times a demon has tried to close my Bible as I've tried to read from it. I've designed mine to be locked open because of it. The bishop leaves with the other two priests following behind him, listening closely at the door, and as it locks behind us, I'm aware of the other precautions behind that door, and I hope they aren't needed. Amunda laughs and holds the sanguine amber in his hands as it begins to glow and levitate between his hands. Father Hammond's taken aback, and I fix him with a stern gaze. I mouth out to him, "Be stern in the face of darkness." Amunda's laughing grows. "You fools! I will not summon a mere demon. With this, the blood of fallen angels, I shall summon forth the Prince of Hell." I reach out to stop him, but suddenly I'm forced back by a mighty wind coming from the centre of the circle. The scent is foul and sulphurous. This fool does have the power to summon a demon, I realise. Father Hammond's fallen to his knees. The older priest I can't see any longer, but I hear a body hit the ground with a thud. Father Charpentier is standing along the circle at 3 o'clock to my 6. I point to Father Hammond to go to the 9 o'clock position along the circle. Father Hammond nods, our robes and vestments fluttering in the foul wind. Father Charpentier is unfazed as he chants a few words that I cannot hear over the rush of the wind. I do my own chanting, praying for God's protection, as Zamunda laughs hysterically after he completes his own spell. Pray all you want, your weakened God, for I, Emunda, shall call forth the brute of the underworld, the Lord of Wrath. His laughing grows maddening as a green bolt of lightning cracks through the middle of the circle. Come forth, O Lord of Wrath! A dark figure appears in the centre of the circle, and I grab hold of my rosary beads. Green light flashes, and suddenly the wind stops. A thick miasma fills the room, and I smell the sulphur beginning to dissipate. Yes, behold, the demon I have brought forth for the ruination of this world, an all-powerful... Emunda hesitates with his prattling. I look ahead of me and squint as I see what is within the circle. A pair of purple bat-like wings stretches upwards, flapping demurely, pushing the miasma away weakly. Dark purple, almost black horns are seen between long and luxurious auburn hair. Large green doe eyes slow through the clearing fog, and beneath that a feminine nose with plush red lips over pale skin. A rather large bust shows generous cleavage out of what appears to be a purple leather-like corset. A whip-like violet tail with a spaded tip whips back and forth wearily. The fog has fully cleared now, revealing long legs, which appear human-like at first, but at her knees, her legs change to a more goat-like form, with black cloven hooves at their base. Succubus? Emunda says, blinking confusingly. A sweet feminine voice echoes from the centre of the circle as Emunda moves closer. Who are you? Did you summon me? I can almost spot a Boston accent, which confuses me. Most demons speak Latin, Aramaic, Hebrew, and a slang sort of Hebrew. I've personally identified as Pit Hebrew. How one of these languages could lead to a Boston accent is beyond me. Emunda now has stepped inside the salt circle. I do not understand. I summoned a demonic prince of hell. I wanted to summon the prince of wrath. Who are you? The woman's voice grows sultry. Oh, you summon me? She drapes her hands over his shoulders. Summoned and bound, Emunda chuckles as he moves his hand through her hair. I narrow my eyes and shake my head. Fool. She now chuckles playfully. I don't remember hearing the binding words. Before Emunda can say anything else, she kisses him, her tail wrapping around him and pulling him tight against her. Her wings wrap around him and his body grows green. I look to the salt circle, grabbing a handful of salt from one of the smaller piles that were left over from the creation of the circle. Father Hammond and Father Charpentier are both transfixed on the perverse display before them, but I'm rather certain what the succumbent wants with Emunda, outside of ensuring our freedom. Well, I'm now certain God chose me specifically for this task, due to my own personal sin. Emunda's body stops glowing, and she quickly pushes him away. Emunda collapses to the floor, his feet sliding through the salt circle, breaking it. She moves to exit the circle as soon as his feet slide through. I hurl the salt in my hand at the opening. She screams as she touches the restored border and falls back into the centre. I get to my feet, adjusting my vestments. Father Hammond laughs after breaking himself out of his stupor. Good show, Father Thomas. The succubus in the middle of the room is whimpering again in pain. I look to Amunda. His body looks old and feeble, but he's still breathing. Odd that she didn't kill him. I look to the seemingly 20-something she-demon in the centre of the circle, whimpering and now sobbing inside the prison of the salt circle. Father Charpentier is about to tend to her before I throw my hand out to stop him with a stern gaze. We're silent for a good minute before our sobbing stops. You guys are jerks, she shouts, agitated. Not even trying to help a lady. She rubs her hand, now pulling her knees to her chest and wrapping her wings around herself, her tail holding her wings closed over her. She looks almost modest. I decide I'm done with this charade. Amunda said he was going to summon a demon prince, and the creature before me seemed to be a lesser demon known as a succubus. It must be a ruse. I pull out my holy water. I compel you, demon. Give me a name. The holy water hits her wings and fizzles. She yelps, shocked by the sensation of the holy water burning her. Oh shit, that burns. Stop. Okay, Sarah Baker. My name is Sarah Baker. Fuck, stop that. She unwraps herself and attempts to brush the holy water off her wings, only to wave her hands in the air, blowing on them to dry the purified water, burning her unclean flesh. I stop, my brow furrowing. Father Hammond closes his Bible. Sarah Baker? What sort of name is that for a demoness? Sarah turns to Father Hammond. Well, it wasn't my mother's plan for me to be a succubus. Father Charpentier throws a spritz of holy water at her, for good measure. Sarah yelps again. Oh, wow, shit, stop it, sorry. Americans, I hear Charpentier mumble. I narrow my eyes on the whore before me. Sarah Baker. What do you mean your mother named you? Do you want me to believe that you were a human before you fell? Sarah looks at me with an exasperated look in her eyes. All demons were human once. Didn't you know that? And there, my friends, is the end of episode 2. So, they've got less than what they bargained for, as we already know from Sarah's story. But as you know, now we're getting it from Father Thomas's perspective. So, I'm just wondering about the time here. I'm wondering if I could squeeze in another one, but I'm not quite sure how long that one would be. I have to quickly check that. Oh, that's going to be a long one. No, that would have to wait till next week, guys. This one would take me over half an hour to read. And as a lot of you don't like long videos, then I'm going to have to leave that one until next week, I'm afraid. So, what did you think of tonight's stories? Were you happy that I'd done one, on at least, well, on UK soil anyway, for the UK Haveners and European Haveners that at least I've done one on a homegrown vampire story. And yes, did you like that one as well? It's the same cat every time, it's Pharaoh. The biggest of my boys. I don't know where he is, whether I can pick him up. Where are you? Come here. Do you want to be carried? Do you want to be picked up? I don't know whether he wants to be picked up, guys, to be quite honest with you. If I can get him to come up, I might try picking him up. But I think he's just wandering around and moaning. He does that. You know, he's a major moaning mini. Aren't you? Yes. Do you want to meet the people? Hey? Come on. Do you want to meet everybody? Come here. Come on. There we go. There we are. This is Pharaoh. This is the one who's been doing all the moaning. Isn't that right, darling? Hey? If you remember the little black and white cat, Oscar, well, he's his much bigger brother. He has cataracts. He's nearly blind. And, yeah, this is him. And he's a great big sweetheart, aren't you? Except one of his biggest faults is the fact that he does like to whinge a lot. As you can, if you've heard him tonight, he really does love to whinge. Where are you going? You're digging your claws into me. I mean, he's purring. He's purring away. I'm really glad I've been able to show him off. It's not often I can ever get the chance to get him to come up beside me, but anyway, this is the one who jumped up on the bench a few weeks ago and decided that he would go sniffing the candle flames. You know, maybe because he didn't know, you know, that they were there doing anything. Hey? What do you think? Do you want to get down now? Say bye-bye. 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 Yeah. You going now? I don't know if the camera's going to pick this up, but he's purring away. I mean, he's not scrabbling to get down. He's the most affectionate out of the three, you know. He's a great, big, heavy lump. And he's so gentle. Aren't you? Aren't you the gentle one? Come on. Time for you to get down. Bye-bye. There. Now he's gone down. And he dribbles. So he's christened me. Dribbled on my arm. Apparently he does that when he's feeling very relaxed. He just dribbles. So there, you've met a black and white cat, and also a black cat. So it's not entirely sort of spooky, but you've met another of my boys, and one of these days I'll get Reaper up here to meet you. But you've met Oscar, now you've met Pharaoh, and the next one is Reaper. But whether or not I can get him to come up, I don't know. I don't think he'd stay. He's the one, he's sort of like looks permanently angry. Not really, he just looks that way. He steals my husband's socks. He doesn't do one sock, he takes a pair of socks. How he manages to steal them, and then he cuddles them and goes to sleep with them. But that's what Reaper does. So, and he's terrified of ham and cheese, and he won't eat fish. You know. Well, those are my cats, all weird. But then again, I'm weird. So what's new? Anyway, that was a welcome addition to the end of your video. I'll just see my cat, or one of them. Right, guys. I do hope you enjoyed tonight's stories. And if you've got any suggestions for anything else that you would like me to do during our spooky sessions, please let me know. Because as you know, I'm more than happy to do them. And we're going to get episode 3 next week of we summoned, I'm a priest and we summoned a demon. And we'll see what happens then, won't we? So on that happy note, I want to thank you very much for being here. Thank you very much for watching. I really do appreciate it. And I hope you all have the best weekend that you can possibly have. Stay safe, keep out of trouble, be kind and loving to each other, and keep the faith, right? We're going to get through this. Do not worry, we will get through this. I will try to do more to help keep you guys entertained. Provide you with an extraction. I'm a dentist now. A distraction. So we will. I'm confident we're going to get through this. So anyway, I love you all. I wish you the best weekend that you can possibly have, considering the circumstances. And I will see you all again very, very soon. Love you. Take care. Bye-bye for now. And I wish you all a very good night. Good night.